I'll go over the format tonight. We have SREC candidates, so that's State Republican Executive Committee. They represent us to the state party. We have 2 Senate districts in Nueces County, SD20, SD27. We're going to hear from those candidates. They're each going to get 2 minutes, and we're going to go in alphabetical order by last name. After that, we'll move to our vice chair candidates, alphabetical by last name as well, and they'll each get 3 minutes. Then we move on to the main event, which will be the state chair race, and I'll go over that format right before we do that. So now I'd like to ask all the candidates running for SREC to come up and sit at the table. There's a microphone at each table, so when it's your time, you can just grab that mic. You can stand up there, you can come over here, however you want to do it. And candidates, the timer's in the back. Can you guys see that up on the screen? In the back there, towards the left on the back wall. Just keep in mind that'll be green, yellow, and then red when you need to stop. Okay, so first up, Chelsea Howell Garcia running for SREC SD20 Committee Woman.
Hello? Okay. Sorry, y'all. So, hi, my name is Chelsea Howell Garcia. I am currently running for SREC Committee Woman for Senate District 20. I currently serve as the Public Relations Director for the Rio Grande Valley Republican Women. I've also served as the Secretary for the Texas Young Republicans a few years ago. Not to kind of show off my age. But yeah, I hope to bring transparency within the party. That's my goal. I really, really want to bring the control back to the precinct chairs and of course, the chairwoman and chairman of the parties. And that's my goal. And I hope to gain your support and have it. And let's keep Texas red and win some elections, guys. Thank you.
My name is Melissa Ward. I'm your current SREC Committee Woman for SD20. First and foremost, thank you all for having us here tonight. Hats off to the Nueces County Republican Party. It is so great to be in a room full of patriots. Up a little higher? Okay. As you can tell from my accent, I'm not originally from Texas. I'm from Mississippi. Okay? And they told me I had 2 minutes to talk. Well, I can hardly get howdy out in 2 minutes. So there's a gentleman that's walking around with my speech. So we're doing it a little bit different tonight. I tried to cut it and cut it. I got it down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That was the best I could do. So before they pulled me off the stage with the shepherd's hook, I said, you know what, I'm just going to bring it over to you guys. One of the things that I want you to know, when you're voting at convention in 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be here before we turn around to it, you are the hiring manager for the chair, for the vice chair, and for all of SREC committee people. So make sure that you know that you are hiring the best qualified candidate for those positions. In my speech that's floating around somewhere, I list the 5 core purposes of the SREC and why I feel that I am the best candidate for it. There's supposed to be applause. thank you all for having us. Be careful going to San Antonio when you go. Prayers for safe travel back home for the ones who traveled here tonight. Right at 2 minutes.
Next up, we're going to move to SREC SD 27 committee women. I don't know if it's was it hard? Hello? All right, so first up for SREC SD 27 committee woman, we have Mari DeLeon.
So I tried this the last time, and I'm going to do it today. Howdy.
Howdy.
So my name is Maricela Mari de Leon, and I'm running for committee woman for SD 27. So let me tell you something about myself. I am not new to this, and I have zero talking points. All I can tell you is this, that I've worked at the Capitol, I've been a chief of staff, I've been a chief committee clerk, I have passed laws and worked on bills since 2003. I worked for State Representative Aaron Pena. I worked for a state rep out of Houston, Gilbert Pena, the first Republican elected in HD 144, in a 50-50 district. Did all by himself, and I love that man so much because I learned the tenacity of being able to engage with voters and how important that is. So having worked in the legislature and passing bills and doing all those great things, I've decided that I needed to take my commitment further within the party as a voice for Senate District 27. I cannot do this without your support. And I think that we all agree that we are working towards closing gaps and mending bridges. And we want to do what's right for the everyday Texan. I am a mother. I'm very proud of my son, and I am teaching him the importance of being cordial and being graceful, but being able to stand up on your own, even when adversity hits you in the face. Because trust me, God loves doing that to me, but I rise above each and every day. So I cannot be your committee woman if the delegates in this room do not support me in a week and a half from now. All I can tell you is that I've worked hard for this great state of Texas, and I cannot continue to do that as your SREC committee woman if you don't elect me. Thank you.
Next up, Janira Lewis, running for SREC SD 27 committee woman.
Sorry, y'all. Okay, my name is Janira Lewis, and thank y'all so much for coming here tonight. I do bring skills and experience. I am retired from a Fortune 500 company as a business analyst. I worked analyzing finances and operations of the corporation. I have state experience. I served in 2018 on the State Rules Committee. In 2020, I served on the State Legislative Priority Committee, and also in 2022 and 2024, I'll be doing it again. My proxy for the outgoing SREC, and Carmen Calderon, thank you for allowing me to substitute for him twice. You might recognize my work on the spring primary ballot. The first ballot proposition was eliminate property taxes. I personally put that there myself, and I will continue to fight for that. I am against having Democrat chairs. That's right. Democrat chairs are a tool that squishy Republicans use to kill legislation and blame it on the Democrats. Amen. I am for school choice. I am for protecting our critical infrastructure and electric grid from EMP electromagnetic pulse attacks. All three of those were on the legislative priorities list, and all three of those did not pass. I give you my word, I will continue to fight for those. If you vote for me, if you give me the privilege of serving as your SREC, I give you my word that as a hard, right, conservative, and constitutionalist, I will vote those values consistently. So please support me. Thank you.
SREC SD20 Committee Man, Nueces County's own Chuck Burnett.
Wow, thank you for that welcome. I'm not used to that. I'm your current SD20 committee now. As I'm running for my second. I'm running for my second term. Some of my qualifications, I can just tell you all what I did in my previous term. I never missed a single meeting. There was 2 rule changes made during the term that I was in, and they both originated with me. And I don't really want to brag about that. The thing is, I stay involved. I'm very involved with the SREC. I care about the counties that are under my care. I spend a lot of time down in Hidalgo County, Jim Wells County, and of course here in Nueces County, where I serve as the secretary of the Nueces County Republican Party also. One of my other accomplishments is I did vote for the censure of Dave Phelan. Gennaro mentioned earlier, we've got a problem with Democrat chairs, and there's no reason we should have those. So I'll keep fighting for that. And all the legislative priorities of the Republican Party are also my priorities. So anyway, I ask for your vote. Thank you.
There is another candidate, but I don't think he is here. So we're going to move on to SREC SD27 Committee Man, and the candidate is Royce Albrecht.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming out tonight. What a great show. My name is Royce Albright. I'm campaign manager for Adam Hinojosa, and I'm also a candidate for SREC for District 27. I've lived here nearly all of my life. Corpus Christi, raised my kids in Flower Bluff. Lived in Harlingen for a short time during the summers when I was a child. Harlingen continues. I've traveled the district extensively as a salesman and also as an insurance adjuster, and I'm no stranger to politics. I have worked with 2 Republican congressional campaigns. I've been a Republican delegate twice. I went to work with Adam's dad, and their political consulting firm, and I worked a few months up in Guadalupe County. I know I contacted some 8,000 plus phone calls and 900 calls trying to get the Republican vote out there. So this is nothing new to me, but in 2022, I've known Adam for 18 years now. In 2022, Adam asked me to consider helping with his campaign. I think he meant, do you want a yard sign? And I went to work with him, and he found the right person. I've awakened to the fact that we have a problem, as I think most of you have now. And I didn't see people stepping up to do this. So I wanted to help, and later on, Adam and I were talking, and he suggested maybe I should do this. So here I am. He's made a politician out of me now. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that very much. Anyway, it's so good to see you all here tonight. We have a great possibility ahead of us. We have many new Republican county chairs, and we're looking forward to making some real differences here in District 27. And that's 2 minutes. So thank you so much. If you will vote for me, I appreciate it very much.
Well, that concludes our SREC candidates, and just so no one's confused, I am not running for re-election in SD27. And Royce has my support. So. All right. So again, I want to thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. We're going to move on to the questions. Okay, now I know they only get 2 minutes, you can't learn a ton, but they'll be around if you want to ask them questions and stuff, but we need to get through all these candidates. So next I'd like to ask all the vice chair candidates that are here to come up. Vice chair candidates. We're going to do the ladies first in alphabetical order and then the guys.
Oh yeah, I'm going. Here. I'll just jump your tape.
That way we're not. All right, so for vice chair, I'm giving these candidates 3 minutes to make their pitch to you. And we're gonna start with Rachel Hisler. Rachel Heisler.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm Rachel Heisler, and I'm running to be your next vice chair of the Republican Party of Texas. The reason that I am running is because I am a grassroots activist just like you. I live over in Chambers County, which is on the northern end of the Texas coast, so I feel very at home here with all of the humidity and mosquitoes. It's just like being at home. The reason that I decided to step up and run is because, according to my faith, if you see a need, you fill it. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to get some fresh legs and new blood that we can pour into in our party. We've got to reach young people because they are the future of our party. If you've ever heard it said, if you're in a church and you don't hear any babies crying, your church is dying. Well, I don't want to see that happen to the Republican Party of Texas. And so I think it's important that we have people who will pour into people like me who are willing to step up and take that initiative to run. And I have a real plan for our party moving forward. I would like to reach new voters. And when I say that, yes, I mean register voters by going out into the places where they live, work, and play to find them. But I'm also talking about activating people who are already registered, but they're not turning out to vote. And that also goes in hand with our party's resolution to close our primaries. If you attended convention last time, then you know that that is something that we started taking the steps to accomplish. Yes, it may be tough, but I think we're up for that fight, but we've got to get people committed to voting Republican and then turning them out because they have good candidates that they want to see elected. The next thing that I believe we need to do is to engage our citizens. They need to understand how and why it is important to have relationships with their elected representatives from their county precinct chairs, county chair, all the way up to the state house. They need to know who these people are and have that working relationship with them. And we don't need gatekeepers. We need our elected representatives to understand that we are the voters and we are the ones that they answer to, whether that be for encouragement because we like what they're doing, or for us to say, hey, we need to talk about this issue and what can we do to fix it. The next thing that's going to happen is that our party is going to align because we have laid out the standards as a grassroots party and we've agreed on them, and then when people come to run for office, we're making sure that they are saying, yes, I align with these standards and I will live up to those standards. And then they understand that if they don't live up to the standards, then we will find someone who will, and we will run them as a candidate against them because they're going to have the grassroots support that they need to run a campaign. And the last thing that's going to happen when we do all those 3 steps is that we will lead the nation. Thank you. I'm Rachel Heisler, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Next up, we have Dorinda Randall.
Hi, y'all. I am a native Texan. How many native Texans do we have out here? And how many of you got here as fast as you could? Well, I am married. I am going to celebrate my 25th wedding anniversary during convention. I know, very romantic. So my husband and I have also raised 3 men that are native Texans. We are wanting to keep Texas the way we had it when we raised them. And that is what we are going to do. We are going to do that together because Texas is the last bastion of freedom. And if we don't get it right, we're going to be in a lot of pain. After convention, we have 5 months to get Donald Trump, Cruz, and all elected officials in office.
Yeah.
Now, for me, whenever I was asked to run for this, I sat there and I looked at like, holy cow, that's a great fit. I have been doing this since 2008. I have been involved in campaigns from Congress all the way to school board and school bonds. I have even done Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Turner. You guys may remember him because we came to Corpus whenever we did that. And so I have ran their campaigns. I know what it takes. I've done hundreds of phone banking. I have done hundreds of block walks. I have been a precinct chair for 11 years. I have done registration drives. We did them all the time. I lived in Collin County for 17 years, and then I moved to Houston about 7 years ago, just in time for Harvey. Woohoo! I learned how to do drywall for our church, so that was a blast. But I am somebody that will fight with you. I am a grassroots leader. I have been tested. I have been proven. Texans need, want, and deserve strong, proven leadership to get us to victory in November. Now, whenever I also had a club that I had a lot of out-of-the-box thinking, and I'm very innovative in how I think. And so I had a board of 40 Type A women, and I was able to manage them into looking at some of my ideas. We brought in brand new mamas into our club by doing some innovative things. They said, no, this can't be done. No, none of them will show up. Well, we had over 500 in members that year that I was president. And majority of new members were brand new mamas. So I know how to bring in the youth vote. I know how to communicate at their level. I would love to get your vote. I would love to work for you. You guys are what matters in our party. Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the gentleman, and we will start with Troy Jackson.
Nueces County, I'm glad to be back with you guys. I don't know about my opponents, but I've been here training you guys. I've helped you guys organize on the ground for candidates, for precinct chairs, for your activists, and giving you guys the tools to be successful. And I must applaud you for all that you've done to help your candidates get elected, for all that you're doing to really make and fortify Nueces County and make it even more red than even imaginable. That is commendable for you. No one else should take credit for what you've done but you. And for far too long, everyone else wants to take credit for what you're doing. I'm not seeking this position to take credit for what you're doing. I'm seeking this position to undergird you, to help you, to give you more tools to be more efficient and more effective in your role. There's a lot of work yet and still to be done. There are candidates that are next door to you. There are donors that are next door to you. There are new activists that are next door to you. We have to message to them. We have to get to know them. We have to be relational with them. But even beyond that, we have to have a structure in our party that we can assimilate them into. Our current party has no structure. How do you have a structure when you only have 4 employees? You don't. There is no structure. You have to have we have 254 counties. The Republican Party of Texas should be a massive force and influence undergirding every county party across all 254 counties of Texas. That is how we start winning elections across the board. Not this fighting and warring against each other. Let's come to the table and figure out, what do we do best? I don't like your group, and I don't like your group, and I don't like what you do. But what do you do that you like, and what's so effective? How can we help you be better and more efficient in what you do and support you? You don't have to come together as a group, but you all need to come together under the apparatus of the party to work for our intrinsic goal and mission, which is to win elections. We cannot win elections fighting each other, backbiting each other, talking about who's the better this and who's the better that. Who in this phone banking? If you like the phone bank, we need to put you together in a phone bank so that you can phone bank. If you like the block wall, we need to strategize and put you together so that you can block wall. Because at the end of the day, we are better together. So we don't have to fight against each other. There is something we all do, and there's something we all do well. I've been a precinct chair since I moved here. I became a precinct chair in Texas in 2003. transform our precinct. I went from having 17 Republican voters to over 1,800 Republican voters in 6 years. That is how you start winning elections. Elections are won at the precinct level, and that starts in your precinct and in your county. And we can do this through the state of Texas.
Next up, we have David Stein.
Nothing like following a preacher, right? Hey, I'm David Stein. I'm currently the Republican chair in Smith County. I've been there for 4 years, started in 2020, ran unopposed in 2022. I had an opponent in 2024, was reelected for the third time with 2/3 of the vote. So proud to serve there. A little bit about me personally. So I'm married 38 years. My wife's name is Stella. I've got 3 daughters, Michelle, Erica, Lindsay. They're all adults. They all want their dad involved in their life, and I feel pretty good about that. Even better than that is I've got 3 grandchildren. One's 2, one's 1, and the other's going to join us in about a month. Career-wise, I spent 30 wonderful years in corporate America, in office equipment and medical device sales, and then I finally said goodbye to that, and I bought a small business. I live in Tyler, Texas, and so we've got a commercial cleaning franchise up there. So I've had executive experience in the corporate world. I've had experience from being a small businessman, so I understand the crunch with this both. Politically, I've always been a Republican. Reagan got my attention. A lot of y'all who are baby boomers, that's how we came into this thing. I got my degree in conservatism from EIB University. Anybody know what that is? Yeah, Rush Limbaugh. A lot of windshield time, and so learned a lot from there. Helped candidates when I was living in Florida. We moved to Texas in 1994. Voted in every Republican election. Finally got involved in 2005. I was a county commissioner for a couple of years. Also served our county party. I was president of our Republican club for 4 years. So when people talk about the grassroots, it's one thing. I am the grassroots. I've been the feet on the ground. I've walked the walk. And I've talked the talk. When I started in 2020, our party was 3 things. We were broke, busted, and disgusted. We had no money. We had 1/3 of the precinct chairs who were involved, and we had no standing in the community. Today, it's a different story. We have money in the bank. We have more than twice as many precinct chairs as we had before. The community respects what we do. So what is it that I think we need to do? Our party is broke. We haven't been raising money. We've disenfranchised donors. So we need to get out there. We need to raise money. We need a get out the vote effort. And I'm not talking about things we need to do. I'm talking about things we've done. We need poll watchers and poll workers. We need a candidate recruitment program from the local to the federal level. We need a year-round database that county chairs and precinct chairs can use. We've got to train county chairs and precinct chairs on how to do their job. And as vice president of the Texas Republican County Chairs Association, that's what I've done for the last 2 years traveling the state. We need to unify, and by God, November, we need to elect Donald Trump as president, Ted Cruz as senator, and every other Republican down ballot. I'm David Stein. Thank you. God bless you.
Alrighty, thank you all for being here. We're going to move on to the state chair race. So one of the candidates that was supposed to come had something come up. He did send me a video. Andrew's working on hooking it up. If we can play it, we will. If not, I'm sorry. But a quick shout out to where we are. We're at ours. They're very accommodating to us, so make sure you support them because they support us. I'll let everyone know we have our Pray and Vote Republican signs for sale. They're $10. You can pay with Cash App, cash, or you can go online and make a $10 donation. How cool is that? $10 or 3 for $25. Let me see this. If I could have all the state chair candidates come up and take a seat, please. Sitting doesn't matter. bear with me, I'm going to forward this link to Andrew. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit different format. So we're going to have each candidate give a 1-minute opening speech. Then I'm going to ask them 3 questions. They will each get a minute to answer that question, and then they'll have 1-minute closing speeches. I've given each candidate 2 cards that give them a bonus 30 seconds. If they want to expand on a question, or an opening, or a closing, they turn in their 30-second extra card. We're going to go in alphabetical order of last name like we've been doing, and then we're going to kind of do like a snake. We'll rotate who goes first. So without further ado, we'll get started. And first up is Ben Armenta. You got 1 minute for your opening.
So for those of you who haven't yet met, my name is Ben Armenta, and it's a pleasure to be here. And having heard the applause that Royce got, I think I'm now an aspiring campaign manager for Adam Canosa. But look, it's great to be here with all of y'all tonight. This is a critical race. You're hearing that we are at a tipping point in the Republican Party. We are essentially broke. $300,000 in the bank account at the end of last calendar year, 5 staffers for the Republican Party of Texas. We have 1,300 people moving into Texas every single day, no statewide get out the vote registration efforts. It is time for a change. And the way that we do that is we don't elect a candidate into the chair position who is going to be a rinse and repeat and more of the same. The way that we do that is we elect a candidate who cares about all 254 counties, who is a businessman and an outsider, and understands that this party's best days are still ahead. And we're going to run this party like a business. So God bless you guys. I'm looking forward to sharing more here. Oh, is it more than 1 minute? Oh no, just kidding. 1 minute. So it's going, but I gotta stop. Oh, they're giving me the hook. All right, thank y'all very much.
Next up is Mike Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mike Garcia, running for state party chair. I grew up in the Rio Grande Valley down south, so it's great to be here because I know we're not the same, but we're similar, right? Unfortunately, for the last 20 years, I've lived behind the Iron Curtain there in the People's Republic of Austin. So it's good to be back in Texas again. I am running for state party chair, like I said. I'll give you my 4 priorities since we don't have much time, and that's okay. I want to recruit good candidates, right? That means I'm looking at you all here, right? Sometimes people just need a little small push, and I've been involved in Republican politics for about 20 years, so I know when I see good candidates like you. We need to fundraise. I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. We need to win in November, right? We need to make sure President Trump gets as many votes as any president has ever got. I'm going to go ahead and use my 30-second I think I have 30 more seconds left. We have to make sure that Senator Cruz gets the same amount of votes that President Trump does, right? I have to make his opponent, Colin Allred, his last name is my goal as your party chair, all red, okay? So that's what we need to do. And lastly, we need to legislate the party platform into law. That's the most important thing that we need to do, and I have the experience to do that. I've worked in the Capitol building for many years, and I know those House rules. So Mike Garcia for state chair, would love your vote at convention. Thank you.
Gave everyone an extra 30-second card. We got some time. So next up is Abraham George.
Good evening, guys. I'm Abraham George. I live in Clark County, which is the DFW area. I used to be an SREC member, and I was also serving as the county chairman until about a few months ago, and I was assigned to run for Texas House. My background is, as you can see, I'm not from around here. I was born and raised in India to a preacher and his wife, and my dad and mom are back in India now. They used to be here in Texas, and they've lived here for about 20 years. We came here the right way, legally. Didn't do any of the stuff that's happening in our southern border now. And my background is, I'm a business owner. I'm married for about 20 years now, and I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son. They go to Plano ISD. I'm part of the grassroots because when Obama got elected, that's when I started to realize, okay, there was a move that everyone who looks like me, anyone who's a minority, is supposed to support him because he's black. And I just didn't like that idea, so I got involved in the Republican Party and started pushing back. And eventually, after about 10 years or so, people asked me to run for office, and that's how I ended up in SREC. My goal is, the difference between my candidacy and the others is very, very drastic, and I'll tell you all about it in the next slide.
Oh, we started it over. Sorry.
Okay.
Unless you want to stop.
No, I want to tell you all about it. So, there's a difference between many candidates and myself, and what I wanted to see is, I want the grassroots, the party, to be stronger than the elected class. Today, the elected officials believe they're the Republican Party, and somehow we're all there to campaign for them. That's not how it's supposed to work. We own the name of the party. The Republican means something to us. And once they get elected, they owe us the priorities and the platform and get that done. If they cannot do that, they need to run as a Democrat. Because we cannot put Democrats in committee chairs. We cannot have our priorities like taxpayer-funded lobbying, closing the border, school choice, many of those things getting killed, mainly because we have Democrats running as Republicans. So I believe we have to get real good conservatives elected, then hold them accountable. 1 minute or something.
Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Dana Myers and I am your current vice chair and I'm running for state chairman. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. First of all, I've been down here many times training y'all and it's so nice to be in this huge room. I've never seen it open like this. So that's 1 in the 30 seconds. I'm a small business owner. I am a proud Aggie mom and I have been doing this now politically for my lifetime, but as far as holding leadership positions within the party, upwards for 8 years. And when we talk about what we have to do in this party, these are the things I ran on for vice chair: election integrity, border security, making sure that our county chairs and our precinct chairs are trained and that we provide the most updated tools and information to our counties, and that is what I've delivered on. The party is in a state of disarray, and that was why I chose to go ahead and announce my run for this back in January. It was becoming very evident that we had no election integrity plan going into the most major election of our lifetime. We absolutely have to get President Trump and Senator Cruz and everyone else on our ballot elected, and that is going to take someone who has proven track record of experience doing all these jobs that we've talked about. I have blog walked, I have talked and trained VDVRs and voter registration programs and texting programs and all those things that we have to do to get our vote. But also importantly, I have advocated, written, and passed SB 1070 with Senator Hughes and Jatan, and that was to get us out of ERIC. 30. 2 cards. So I just want to say, it is not only just about getting out the vote and making sure people are elected, it's also holding them accountable so that we as the grassroots from which I come have our voices heard at the priorities that we want to get passed. And then when that doesn't happen, I so often kindly remind people, we help get you into the office and we can help remove you and run other people. But it's very important that we get our priorities passed and we continue to do that in a very effective manner so that people understand that we're very serious in the fundraising issue. We'll address in the next question. So thank you very much.
you got the list of how you guys will come up. So I'll ask the question and then you each just come up and answer it. So the first question is, fundraising is critical. What is your plan for fundraising and what is your fundraising experience?
Fundraising is obviously one of our main problems with the party currently. The $300,000 isn't going to go very far. We also have to get through convention. My personal background is I have built companies and also saved companies that were at the brink of disaster. So I've also restructured companies, and I've also taken companies international to England and Japan. I'm very well versed in that, and I've had to raise capital for major projects and continue to do so in my real job. The fundraising thing, knowing that this was an issue and that our donors right now are not willing to give to the party and our current leadership, which is why I'm running, I've had those conversations with people across the 254 counties while I've been traveling since I announced. There is a plan right now that I put together talking to local, state, and federal fundraisers across the nation. And we have many that are willing to step in and help Texas, because everyone understands that Texas has the targets on its back, and that we are what the Dems are coming after. It is our 40 electoral votes to the path to the presidency that they want. So everybody understands that it's going to be all in for Texas to get this done and make sure that we build that red wall for Texas. Thank you.
You know, fundraising isn't just a critical activity, it's the lifeblood of everything we want to do. If we need to strengthen our elections, get out the vote, register voters, we need dollars to be able to make that happen. I have extensive experience in business raising money. I've built multiple companies, sold them, oil and gas company, HR software company. I've worked extensively and all across the entire state of Texas as a board member of Hispanic Republicans of Texas, raising dollars specifically for operations and helping candidates. You see, I don't give my money to the Republican Party of Texas. I give my money to candidates and to political action groups because I trust them, because they have a vision and they have a plan. The Republican Party of Texas has zero trust with the rest of us. It is not clear what lane the Republican Party of Texas operates in. And we need to fix that. Under my leadership, we're going to be extremely transparent. We're going to give people opportunities to donate to specific causes. If you're passionate about election integrity and you want to write a $5 check or a $500,000 check, you're going to be able to give it to election integrity, and you're going to see in a report every quarter, just like a business, from me, on how that money is being spent. If you're passionate about candidate training, you're going to see the same thing from me. If you're passionate about building our messaging and our brand, you're going to see that from me. Fundraising will be the #1 job under my leadership. Thank you, guys.
So I'll start a little bit with my fundraising experience and then tell you my plan. I've been fundraising on and off in the different jobs I've held for almost 20 years. I was president of the College Republicans over at the University of Texas in Austin almost 20 years ago. And we had to fund our club off of just asking for people from donations, right? And the one thing I've learned over the years is that you can't be shy when you're asking for money. I've been able to interact with different fundraisers over my time, working in and out of the legislature over the years, and I've definitely been able to make those connections that are needed in order to get those big ticket dollars. But my plan for fundraising has less to do with the big ticket donors and more to do with the small donors. You know, we have 5.3 million people who voted in the Republican 2020 election. I think I'll use my 30-second card for this one, 30 more seconds. If every one of those people just donated $1 a month, $12 a year to the Republican Party of Texas, we would get $5.3 million a month. And what is that? About almost $70 million in 1 year, right? I think it's a little bit of a lofty goal, but I think we can get somewhat toward there. If we just get 1/10 of that, we'll have 10 times more amount of the money that we have right now. So it's being creative like that. I think we need to be creative in our fundraising structure. We need to make sure that everybody has skin in the game. So that would be my plan. Thank you. I actually do believe in the Republican Party. I think the Republican Party is capable of fundraising. I can tell you this, as a county chair in Collin County, in the last 2.5 years, I've raised over $700,000. We did that by going to the grassroots, not by going to the elected officials. We did that by doing good events, putting together great Lincoln Reagan Day dinners, golf tournament, things like that. I do believe we need to have good fundraising. And there's a great amount of people that are willing to give money. Look at Laura Trump. When she came on board with RNC, people were willing to give money to them because they knew now the party is a conservative party, not like what when Ronna McGonigal ran it. So there is a reason why people are not giving money. And I have to correct a couple of my colleagues here. Our party currently has $1.7 million in the account, not $300,000. So with that, I want to say this. Yes, fundraising is a big thing. I have the experience. I'm the only candidate who can stand here and say we've raised up closer to $1 million for the Republican Party in the last couple of years. Thank you.
All right. We have our next question. Now, with 5 candidates, this worked out perfect, but Dan's going to have to go first again because one candidate didn't show up. But it's okay. So the next question for you guys up here. Some Republicans want to achieve passage of legislative priorities. Others simply want to elect Republicans. What is your priority?
So does this mean I get Weston's time too?
Nice try.
Nice try. Well, I had to try. Actually, I think it's not an either or. Our job is to first make sure that we build a strong party so that we know we're very effective at getting people elected and then putting conservatives in office that then pass our legislative priorities. It's not an either or. You need to be good at being able to do both. And so I think that's very straightforward. As far as my priority, as I just said, it is effective management, leadership, bringing funds into the party so that we can grow this party across all 254 counties. I have said repeatedly and traveled thousands and thousands of miles across this state because we need to be in every corner. Every part of this state needs to be ready to light a fire and get our people out to vote for November. And that needs not to continue just for November. It needs to be a year-round process. So all those things that we do to build the party then make us more effective. People start listening to us, and then we show them that we know how to get their candidates elected that represent their values from their area. And then those people are held accountable once they're in office to pass our priorities. It is not that challenging once you build an effective party. So thank you.
Look, I don't sugarcoat it, and this is a clear distinction between me and all my opponents. The job of the chair in the Republican Party of Texas is to beat the Democrats. It is not to legislate. Every single person in this room votes for people you send to Austin to write great policy, and people that you sent to DC to write great policy, and we can all hold them accountable. But it is not the job of the chair to pick winners and losers. There needs to be one person in the state of Texas who wakes up every day obsessed about beating the Democrats. And that is the vision that I'm running on. And that is the plan that I'm going to put in place. Of course, we need to go and hear about what's important from everybody and ensure that we're building a great party platform. But the job of the chair is to go beat the Democrats. You know, the RPT just endorsed in 27 nonpartisan races. 27. And we won 8 of those. That is pitiful. Now, you guys are doing a fantastic job here. Clearly, you're getting people focused on those nonpartisan races, but the state of Texas has got to build a plan on how we win. The Democrats are the problem. Thank y'all.
So the question is, some Republicans want to achieve passage of legislative priorities, others simply want to elect Republicans. What's their priority? Some questions are a chicken and the egg problem. This is not one of them. We cannot enact our priorities if we don't elect Republicans, right? How many members of the Texas House? Anybody know? 150. How many Republicans do we have? 86, that means we're 11 seats away from losing the Texas House to Republicans, to Democrats, sorry. Last time we passed all of our priorities was when Steve Ministeri was chair of the party. We had 102 Republicans that session, right? We had a supermajority, had no problem passing our priorities. We need to win these elections. We need to go into places where maybe the math doesn't work as well, but we need to take those risks. Otherwise, we're never going to grow our majority, and we're going to lose it to the Democrats. And then, after we win, we pass our priorities. It's as simple as that. Thank you.
You're absolutely right. The difference between my candidacy and the rest of the candidates are, I want to take the party at a place where the Republican Party's priorities are #1 for every single elected official. If they're not going to do that, why are we meeting in about 3 weeks and putting together 8 to 10 priorities and putting the platform together and going home, spending thousands of dollars, every single person doing that? Then if the Republican Party's elected officials will not take a look at that, what's the point? So I believe they need to be held accountable. So I don't think we just need to elect them. Absolutely, we do need to elect them, and we do a great job of that. In the last 2 years, we gained more seats in 2020 since 2018. So we do a great job of that. But what I want to say is, when they get there, they have to do a better job. If they do a better job, we will get more people elected. Because right now, even Republicans are staying home because they're tired of, I gotta say this, rhino Republicans who is playing footsie with the Democrats, and people are not happy with our elected officials. And the party have a unique and objective and responsibility to hold them accountable and tell them they need to get their stuff together, or we will find somebody else to run against them. And they've been doing that. So, I think that's where it differentiates. The direction of the party is where everything changes between me and my distinguished colleagues. These are wonderful people. So I want to take the party to a place I think we believe we need to have accountability from the elected officials as well. Thank you.
All right, time for our third question. And this one will start. We'll be right back up, Abraham. So question 3, what will you accomplish in your first 100 days as chair?
So I want to start out by saying what I did as a county chair. The first thing I did was we went and installed a CRM software and connected it to our website. So anytime a volunteer signs up, it pops up to our volunteer group, and they will make a phone call to the person and say, hey, what do you want to work with? What do you want to do for the party? You want to block, phone bank, home read, whatever. So that's one thing. I believe we have to get to a point that our party is accessible to every single person here. We need to start opening up satellite offices in different parts of our state. Our state is huge, trust us. We've been driving all over, and it takes a long time for anyone from here to get to Austin. This has to be an accessible party. Then we also need to start doing something like, texting campaign. We have to have a database built, and that there is a part of database there. We need to clean that up, and we make that available to precinct chairs and volunteers. Because the chairman of the party from Austin is not going to come block walk here. The people here have to do that, and they need the data. They need to figure out who is a Democrat, who is a Republican, who do they need to go to. So the apparatus of our party need to come to a next level, which is 2024. We can do that with a lot less resources than it used to be, and that's what I wanted to do. I want to put together an apparatus that every single person here can come and take care of our business. Thank you.
All right, sorry, I was making it short so I could go through these very quickly. I already have a 30-day, a 5-month, and a 2-year strategic plan all ready to go. As far as the fundraising team that I mentioned is ready to go day 1, they've already been contacted and they're committed to do this. We also have a special advisor group of grassroots leadership from across the state that I have met and engaged with, and they also are ready to go on day one to help us implement a regional plan based upon 6 regions which we used during election integrity legislation to make sure that we could advocate and get people to the polls and make sure that we could make calls to our electeds. 30-day especially is to make sure that we reassess the immediate financial needs, which I'm very well aware of at this point, and make sure too that we, as we get together, that we have an election integrity training program for the poll watchers and election workers so they're ready to go and get started training early. Because right now we have about 2,000 poll watchers versus 8,000 that we had at the same time 2 years ago. That's unacceptable, we're not ready. So we have to build those election training programs, which we already have built, and utilize them very quickly, and the same with making sure that we fill those precinct chairs that are vacant, and that we implement some immediate training in those regions. Also connected with the SRECs, as well as the county chairs, and most of them that I've talked to are also on board from the county chair level to make sure that we implement that. Getting out the vote, election integrity, and fundraising all simultaneously. Thank you.
Y'all, we don't get Trump's policies without Donald J. Trump.
Amen.
And in the last election for Senator Cruz, he won that by 2.5 points. 2.5 points is nothing. And his opponent right now is way more formidable than Beto was. We have got a lot of work to do. The first 100 days is the most important time to raise dollars and secure our elections. And the most important thing we can do is build and train legal teams and have them deployed and ready all across every major region across the state of Texas. The second most important thing that I will do in those 100 days is meet with every single county chair. You see, their vantage point and what they need to secure their elections is different and unique. And Texas, for way too long, has done a one-size-fits-all from Austin. And that's just not the case. South Texas is way different than North Texas, way different than West Texas, way different than Jefferson County, and way different than where I'm from in Fort Bend County. We have got to build a plan that is custom and tailored to the voters here so that Donald J. Trump, Senator Cruz, and every person on that ballot wins. Thank you.
Amen.
So I think the first thing I would do as chair, because 100 days puts us more than halfway between when the convention ends and the election starts, is I would sit down with not only the county chairs, but I'd sit down with every campaign that we can identify in Texas. Anybody, we'd have a post-convention convention basically, because it would be that many people. And we'd sit down and we'd figure out what things we're duplicating, right? Because we need to be efficient with the money that we have, and we can't be greedy with the money that we have, right? If Abbott's team is going to be walking around this region, and so is Adam Hinojosa's team, we have to make sure that we're not duplicating resources. Next thing I'd really like to focus on is opening up field offices. This is something that the GOP used to do. We can partner with local parties in order to open up field offices, offer resources. It'll be our eyes and ears on the ground, reporting back to us in Austin on what everybody needs. And lastly, I'd like to raise between $5 and $10 million. I know it's a lofty goal, but I think it can be done in order to support all that. So thank you.
All right, we're doing great on time. I'm going to throw in one more question for you guys. It's got to be quick. So, we have some great candidates. I'm really happy with the slate of candidates we have this election cycle. So my question is, if you're elected chair, what's your plans for these other candidates up here? And if you're not elected, what's your future plans with the party? And we'll start by want me to repeat it? Okay. So if you're elected chair, do you have any plans for these guys up here that are sitting beside you? And if you're not elected, what are your future plans within the party?
I've actually gotten to know you all quite well on the trail here, even though it's been a short campaign, and each and every one of y'all has qualities that I certainly don't have. God gives us all different strengths and weaknesses. You know, my weakness is that I work too hard. No way. I'm joking. I would like to keep everybody involved, and I think that's why it's important that we don't get too ugly with each other, right? We have to remember that there is one person, one team that we have to beat in November, and it's not Republicans, it's the Democrats, right? And they play the long game, thank you. Yeah, they play the long game, and we have to play that long game too, and so we have to unite. We can't take any of this personally. And you know, if I don't win, I've been involved in the party for 20 years. Again, I don't take any of this personally. I'm going to continue being involved in the Republican Party in any capacity that the chair wants me to for the rest of my life. Thank you.
If you guys are going to support me, I'm going to win. But if not, I still believe that our party is bigger than any individual. Because if you ask anyone here, if you can name 10 former GOP chairs, I bet not a lot of people can do that. And you can't even name, half of the people can't even name their current congressman. So, I mean, that's our demographic in Texas. So it's not about a person, it's actually about the party and the principles. So if I don't win, I'll be more than happy to work with whoever gets elected. But if I get elected, I wanted to take the party to the next level where we actually going to go against Democrats, because in November 2024, they're the only enemy we can see. We will have elected officials that are on our side that we may have to hold them accountable in January or February. But right now, it's against Colin Albright, it's against Joe Biden. Thank you so much.
You know, rising tides lifts all boats. And the Democrats, they are playing the long game. You see, look at our schools. Look at our healthcare. They are thinking generational shifts, 20, 30 years down the line. We have a problem of complacency all across the state, where Republicans just think it's always going to be. I remember the Ann Richards era. I remember what it was like back then. You know, when we have candidates who take their time and they sacrifice away from their family and dollars, and they're attacked and challenged, they're putting their name out there and they're doing good for this party. And we need to embrace that. The Democrats understand that that's an investment. When you have a Republican who is in the race, they're changing the narrative. They're strengthening our party. They're bringing other constituents to the table and fresh ideas. And I will absolutely work with any of these candidates if they're elected, and I will gladly accept any of them on my team as we move forward. God bless you. Thank you.
I think it's obvious from everyone's statements here that we're obviously very passionate about our party, protecting Texas and protecting America. There's no doubt that every single one of us up here is committed to that. I will happily work with whoever in whatever capacity, and I'm also want to touch on something Ben just said, and I've done this now for many years, both as a vice chair for Harris County in different capacities, as well as VP of membership for TFRW, or as your vice chair and other organizations that I've worked with. When people want to get involved, you need to make sure that we reach out to them and make sure we find them something to do when they ask to do something, as well as reach out to those candidates that may have not surpassed their goals and reached their final outcome that they wanted. There are so many good people that run and then never hear another thing from the party, but we also have candidates that run and then disappear. So I tell everyone to look at what people have done, look at their backgrounds, make sure we keep people involved and grow the party. It is something that we have a lot of expertise in this state, whether they're running as candidates, may have fallen short as candidates. There's no reason that we cannot build an organization of grassroots leaders that have subject matter expertise in these various areas for liberty principles and put them on a grassroots board with the party to grow and advance ourselves. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna try this. Before we move to closing, we're gonna try to play Weston Martinez's video that he sent us.
Hey guys, it's Weston Martinez saying God bless you guys and all my friends in Nueces County. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't join you. One of my 5 children had an amazing awards ceremony here in San Antonio that I just drove in from Dallas to attend and was not able to join you in person. So thank you so much for being part of the process, and we can't wait to see you in San Antonio. Look folks, I've been fighting in the grassroots for over 20 years. I know how to secure the elections and secure the border and beat George Soros. And nobody running for chair has fought to secure the elections longer than I have. I worked with Project Veritas to get that woman arrested that made national news here in Texas, and worked with the Attorney General Ken Paxton to get the fastest arrest in the history of voter fraud. A long time ago, before I was running for chair, I also created the bill that made voter fraud a felony in Texas, and another bill that made human trafficking a death penalty eligible offense. And I've been working to get grassroots leaders elected, like Adam Hinojosa, who's running for Senate, that I want to encourage each and every one of you to get out there and vote. Some people would say that race is not winnable. I'm telling you that race is winnable, and with your help and with me working together with you as state chairman, we're going to take that seat back, and we're going to make sure we put a good Republican in that seat. And as we move forward, you need to know that I'm pro-life, pro-gun, pro-family, pro-Israel. Most importantly, I'm pro-Texas. I am the biggest Trump supporter in this race, and I've got Trump's #1 man in Texas, our Ag Commissioner, Sid Miller, who's one of my key endorsements. Also go along with Patriot Academy founder, Rick Green. And we know that if we put forth individuals that recognize the Bible and the Constitution that our founding fathers also did when they founded our country, then we will have a good place to continue to raise our family. Right now, we're at war, and right now, our state is under threat by the federal government and international government, and making sure that we actually move Texas forward in a way that secures our elections, so we can secure our border, so we can beat George Soros, is absolutely what we have to do. I have the only one that has called for concrete plans on how we can actually secure the elections. I was in Dallas having the pro-Israel event on Sunday, and you can go check my YouTube channel where me and Senator Bob Hall had a video conference that we put out calling on the Secretary of State to eliminate vote centers across the state of Texas. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to wait for the legislature. The Secretary of State can do it now. And no one else running for this race has ever talked about doing that, unfortunately. God bless every one of them. And we also are the ones that have talked about how we can actually return to sequentially numbered ballots. Make sure that we're teaching people how to fight voter fraud. Make sure that we are actually enforcing the laws on the books. I'm also going to call for the Secretary of State to eliminate the other 29 waivers associated to ballots and ballot handling in our election code. By the way, did you know that our Constitution only allows for an election day? Yeah, that's right. It doesn't even allow for early voting. You see, folks, winning isn't luck. It's knowing how to fight. And I've been fighting for over 20 years in the grassroots level, and at the national level and at the state level. And I can tell you that as your state chairman, I'm going to make sure that we amplify your voice, that we give you the tools necessary to go out there and take out bad Republicans and help get good ones elected. I'm the only one talking about us building our own headquarters and owning our own building. We spend almost $250,000 a year in commercial rent in downtown Austin. That's what our Republican leadership has approved. Not on my watch. We're going to invest that into a building that we can actually raise commercial revenue from, so I can do things like fund outreach events and data and software for precinct chairs in counties across the state of Texas. Make sure that your county is funded so you can have proper training, and make sure that we actually have in the headquarters and headquarters in different parts of the state that we're going to have donated, so that we can actually have a studio, so that when candidates want to get prepared to run or cut a video, we can secure our brand and run this like a business. Folks, if we take care of our internal customers and build a farm team, like I've talked about with my Nehemiah project, to get people elected across the state of Texas, then we will, in the down ballot nonpartisan races, then we actually will get more Republicans elected. and my ambassador program that takes people like you and appoints you to positions and committees across the state of Texas at every level, so we can now be in those meetings, so we can actually help those November voters realize that they should be voting Republican, that they need to realize who is putting them in debt. That's why I've been hosting property tax protest seminars across the state of Texas and teaching people how to fight their taxes. No one else running for chair is doing that. God bless them for what they have been doing, but God has blessed me with what we need to do now to save our country, to save our state. There's a lot more things we can talk about. Visit my website, westonworksforyou.com, and check out my YouTube channel. There's like 1,500 videos of things that I've done over years and decades of work. So you can go back and see what I've already done, so you can show how we're gonna move forward. But my biggest motivation is to unleash the Texas grassroots, so that we can be the biggest political weapon in the history of politics, so that we can go out and make Texas the shining city on the hill that it's supposed to be, because we've only got one shot to save America, and it's a place called Texas. God bless you, God bless Texas, and thank you guys for being there tonight, and I'll see you soon.
All right, moving on to closing statements. Next up, Mike, proceed. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, start up.
Folks, in closing, just to start our closing here, I met my wife through the pro-life movement 13 years ago. My wife and I are extremely pro-life. We've been able to live those values out. We have 4 young children at home. We've got a 5th on the way in July, so say some prayers for us. But God has been so good to us, and it helps me realize what we're up against with the Democrats, because that party, we talk about Democrat chairs. 20 years ago, that might have made sense, right? Because there was maybe this much gap between the Republican and Democrat parties, but now there's a huge chasm between us, and they are just falling off the cliff. And that's why we have to hold the line on our biblical values and our constitutional underpinnings that created our state and nation. I teach constitutional law over at Concordia University, and I'm able to talk about God, but you can't talk about God with the Democrats. It's very frustrating. I just want to remind you all, right? We're 11 seats from losing the House. If we don't get together and work together toward November, things are going to be really bad. But I've been reading the book of Exodus and the book of Joshua, and if I've learned anything, it's that we need to trust in God. We need to trust that He's going to give us what we need in order to prevail, to charge that battlefield, just like David did when he fought Goliath. And I promise you, if you elect me as your chair, you won't have to worry about where I am, because I'll be right in front of you leading the charge. So, Mike Garcia for State Republican Party Chair. Thank you.
It all comes down to what are we going to do in November and what we're going to do in the next 2 years. Because we have school board elections, city council elections. That's where Democrats are starting out. They have turned our schools against us. Our children are indoctrinated. I believe the Republican Party should be getting involved in all of those. We need to have good conservative Republicans elected. We've got to get our priorities passed. We have to have an apparatus for our party. So you're looking at me and thinking, who is this guy? And I'll tell you this, I'm a simple Pentecostal preacher's kid who actually goes to a Baptist church now. So my dad's actually praying for me to come back to Christ. But I do want to say this, I'll be out there fighting for our principles and our party platform and to get Republicans elected. I want to leave you with my cell phone number. It is 469-569-0273. That number is 469-569-0273. Call me, reach out to me, love to chat with you guys. Thank you for having me here.
Please go there and read about me. You can see everything I've been involved with over the years in leadership positions. I think it's a great combination to lead the state board because I've done every part of this job in the trenches, as well as fundraising in my private life, in my real work experience. I remind people, it takes all of us, and it's so wonderful actually to see how fired up this area of Texas is. I can tell you, having traveled now for almost 2 years straight, the majority of the time, Texas is on fire, folks. Everybody knows that we have to have a change in direction because obviously Biden is going to run this country to the ground, and we are having people want to come into the party by the droves. Our job is to make sure that we reach out to them, invite them in, teach them what they need to do, and let's magnify and amplify these voices and get this job done, not only for Texas, our president, our senator, but also for our priorities and everyone else in our country that may not know the Republican yet. And it's important as we look at these things and what we're facing now as a country, because I know it's challenging. You see people, I've been in forums and in meetings with people around the state, and you'll literally have people cry because they don't know what to do. They feel very hopeless. But our party is basically the way forward for them. All we have to do is invite them in, show them how to participate, and we will never have to apologize to our children that we did not give our all in 2024. And I want to remind people it is time to live up to the honor and duty of being a Texan, and let's show the world what Texas can do. Thank you.
So I just want to take a minute real quick. Raise your hand if you're a veteran in the room. Thank you guys very much. We wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for the sacrifice of our veterans. And raise your hand if you currently or have been in the past a candidate. Again, thank you guys for the sacrifice. That is how we build this country. So in February, I went and spoke at my kids' school board, and I spoke advocating for Senate Bill 763, which was the chaplain bill. And there were 18 people that spoke that evening, and only one person, me, spoke in favor of that bill. And the next week was the week that they were voting on it. There was about 40 folks that spoke, and there were about 10 that spoke in favor of it. But 4 of those people were high school students. And one of them wrote me an email and said that she spoke that night because she had heard me the week before. It is a shame that you have to be courageous to be a conservative in Texas. We need bold leadership. Leadership that understands that every county has unique challenges and opportunities. Bold leadership that is willing to put a plan together with every single one of you to ensure that we win. And we will hold our elected officials accountable because our grassroots is strong. My glass is half full. I understand that people think that all this just happens, but it doesn't. It happens through hard work. But we are going to build a team. We're going to broaden our reach, and we're going to bring more people to the Republican Party by being strong in what we believe and showing them that we have their back. They can speak up. And we are going to build this party from the grassroots on up. Again, my name is Ben Armenta. I'm the outsider in this race. The last 2 great conservative presidents were both outsiders and businessmen, Ronald Reagan and President Trump, and I will be proud to serve each and every one of you. God bless y'all. Thank y'all very much.
I want to thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. I know everyone here appreciated